Hello and welcome to Yearbook by Talk Twenties, the show where stars share their journey from school halls to life's biggest stages. As always, you're joined by me, your yearbook editor, Gaby Mendez, and a special guest of the week. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that like button or subscribe and follow us here in the Talk Twenties studio. This week, our guest is none other than podcast host, PLT ambassador, and creator Ami Charlize.
Hey guys, yay! So happy to be here.
So amazing to have you here. First of all, we have to address this tiny little cutie that is in this frame here.
So embarrassing. Why did
so
we have to do this? No, I'm joking. It's super cute. I mean, yeah, this was me on my first year of school, I think.
First year, so what, you were 4?
I think so.
4 or 5?
4 or 5.
That is honestly the cutest little picture.
I thought I looked pretty cute in that
You
one.
are
I was
cute.
not going to show you any of me in secondary school.
Yeah.
No way. But yeah, the fringe, I was giving Sabrina Carpenter even back in the
Yeah, you
day.
were.
So I do love it. It is very cute.
Well, the reason why we do this now on the show is because we like looking at like the stars like, you know, Taylor Swift, Beyonce, Justin Bieber. Like if you look back at their yearbook photos, they were so cute when they were younger, but also you can kind of see like bits of them in it. And then you also can't really tell, most people you can tell it's them, but like I think people would guess that was you. It looks,
I feel
it's
like,
a cute
yeah,
version
I
of
mean,
you.
it's literally me, but just when I was younger and I had no eyebrows back then. That's the only difference.
It's so cute. Should we put it back on the
Yeah,
table?
go on, you can put it back so I don't break
So
it.
you're no stranger to talking about school online. Like you have talked a little bit about your experience online, but for
Yeah.
people who don't know you, tell us a little bit more about your school experience.
Okay, yeah. So I'm Ami. I'm now 17, so I only left school 2 years ago.
It's crazy to me.
which-
Absolutely crazy.
2 years ago or 1 year ago? I think it was about 2 years ago now. So it's been quite a while. I feel like my last year of school I was hardly in. First of all, because it was GCSE season, and second of all, because I personally prefer to stay at home and revise at home than be in school grounds. So that was kind of my experience, if you couldn't tell already. Didn't really enjoy school that much, but I definitely feel like secondary school was definitely more difficult than primary. I enjoyed primary school. I actually really enjoyed school, and I wasn't like a fun, like, oh my God, I want to be in education girl when I'm older, but I definitely enjoyed going in and seeing my friends, and I never really had any problems until secondary school. I went through a bit of a bad time from about year 8 until year 11. So it was a long period. I think it definitely got easier at the end, but because I had so much trauma and like bad experiences, I just didn't want to go in. Like I hated the thought of going back to school. So I always get people say to me like, oh, do you not miss it? And I'm like, not at all, you know.
Yeah,
like I
you
think
wouldn't
I'm
go
on a
back.
different path now, but I think it's definitely important for me to share my story and what happened to me, because I hear so many young girls and boys go through the same thing, and it genuinely breaks my heart, because I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. Like it's the worst feeling to go through and feel trapped in a school. But I think it's nice that I can kind of share my story to others. So
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think everyone's school experience is so different. Some people will be able to relate to absolutely loving school, and some people will be able to relate to thinking like it was the worst. For me, I also think it was in parts like the worst time of my life, and also in parts like, oh, like I wish I could go back to that, but not everything. You know what I mean?
yeah, I know what you mean. I feel like, I try not make it so negative all the time, because I feel like it's really easy for me to be like, oh, I hated it. But there was moments and memories that I cherish forever, and like the friends that I made. So I feel like in certain aspects, I do still think back and think, oh, that was nice.
And I think our older listeners will probably be like, who's Ami Charlize? But all our younger listeners will absolutely know who you are. For the people out there that might not know who you are, tell us a little bit more about what you do and how you're 17 and sat on the sofa and you've got an amazing career right now, and you've just come out of school, really.
Yeah,
like, it's
thank
crazy.
you. Yeah, no, it is definitely mad. But basically, I started doing social media when I was 12. So I started when I was a literal baby. And I started doing acting videos. So people might know what POVs are, people might not. It was basically where you made scenarios up on TikTok to a sound, or like an acting sound, and you'd act it out and cry and do whatever you needed to do and then post it. And back then it wasn't cringe, but now it's a lot more cringy. And I definitely don't regret it. People always say like, do you regret posting them videos? No, not at all, because it's made me
You would
get
be
to
where you are
I am.
now.
Yeah, so I'm
Now,
really grateful actually. But yeah, so I started doing that, and then when I got a bit older, I definitely progressed in like doing more relatable videos, and also just because I felt like no one knew my personality, they just knew me as this girl that cried. So I was like, I want to make people know like I do have a personality and stuff. And for the people that didn't see my YouTube videos, I thought, why not kind of show that on TikTok? So I did a bit more talking, and I don't know, I used to just want to meet people 24/7. Like I literally did meet and greets. Like last year I think we did like 8 meet and greets in a year, because all I wanted to do was meet everyone. So I definitely think like people might know me from the POVs, but nowadays it's more like the get ready with me's, and I just feel like I wanted people to know like I'm a normal teenager going through normal teenager things. I've gone through the breakup, I've gone through the bullying, I've done a lot of things for my age, but I think I'm still very like me and my friends, when I'm sitting with them, I don't feel like I've even got a platform. Like I just feel like a normal teenager. So I think that's nice that the girls that follow me and the boys that follow me are also similar ages. We all can kind of relate on things, which is nice.
Yeah. There's some people you can very much tell that they know that they've got a platform stuff up, but you are just like the realest person ever. And I think you give that vibe on everything. No, it's so true. And I've obviously like in prep for this, but like listened to you on different podcasts, and I was so excited to meet you because I just think you are like the definition of being like super authentic online. Like I just think you are yourself. What made you want to do that though? Because we were talking before about people being like always wanting to do like super polished stuff, and they're putting out a certain like pretense about themselves. Like what made you just think I'm going to be like unapologetically myself online?
I think because no one ever was like that when I was growing up online, and I always felt like not pressure from social media, but I almost felt like, you know, maybe people are so perfect and no one goes through a bad time. And like when I used to see that, I used to be like, oh my God, why am I going through such a bad time when everyone else is living their life, getting these bags, getting these cars, whatever. So I think when I was younger, it was more like I never would have thought I would do this, because as much as I was confident, because of what happened to me before, I just become I don't know, like I was very more in my shell. You know, I just used to think like, oh, why do I look like this? Like, how does she look like that? Blah, blah, blah. But I think just being able to see the effect of just one video of me talking about my bullying story and one video of me just saying, oh look, my acne is really bad right now, and seeing the kind of reception that people actually did enjoy that content, because at first you don't want to come across as someone that's just asking for sympathy and you know, asking for people to be like, oh, she's just trying to be someone she's not, because that's genuinely not what I'm doing. Like I just thought maybe, you know, the acting videos didn't show me at all, and I was like, why not start showing me in a different limelight? And also great, I get such amazing opportunities. I've been able to come out of a book, I've been able to make a podcast, have my own brand coming out and stuff, and it's amazing. But also, just because you're successful doesn't mean you don't have bad days. And I feel like a lot of girls and boys see my life and think, oh my God, why am I not doing that at 16? But it's not normal. Like I literally am so grateful for what I get given, but it's not the norm. And I want people to realize, just because I do have this cool fantasy, I also live such a normal life at home. Like when I'm at home, I get treated just like everyone else. I have to do my laundry, I have to do everything. So yeah, it's great. I was telling you, bills, got to start paying now. I'm nearly 18. It's great. I love it.
What do you think about every single young like kid growing up right now writing that they want to be a TikToker or a YouTuber like when they grow up? It's so common for kids to want to do that nowadays. What do you think about that?
I think it's definitely not like people think it's something that it's not, and it is glitz and glam, but there's also like a very, very hard part, and you've got to have a tough confidence and you've got to be able to take that kind of hate that you can get from it, because people don't understand it, and like a lot of adults don't understand it. I think a lot more younger people are very understanding these days, but like honestly, when I first started doing it, the teachers at school, the people that I spoke to who were older than me were like, what are you doing? Like that's not the job, you can't make money from that. And obviously when you're trying to do it, you don't really know what you're just trying to like pretend that you know what you're doing, but it can be difficult. And I think I'm not one to say no one could do it, because I know for a fact it is something, if you put in the hard work, the dedication, you can do anything. But I definitely think that it's obviously a lot more complicated than people make out. Like it isn't just a case of like, oh, I've blown up, I've got 20,000 followers, I'm going to become an influencer. If it was that easy, a lot more people would do it. But I think it's definitely something that you could do if you wanted to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. What did your teachers think then when you were posting on social media and you were like, obviously you were making money at that point, right? This episode is brought to you by Invoice Home, proud sponsors of Yearbook on Talk Twenties. All right, freelancers, small business owners, and side hustlers, listen up. Invoice Home is about to become your invoicing best friend. Imagine no more late night, why won't this file convert to PDF moments, or weirdly formatted invoices that scream, I made this in a panic. Invoice Home is here to save your sanity. It's simple, professional, and lets you create invoices anywhere, whether you're chilling in your PJs or out on the go. And the best part, they've got a free and unlimited plan, which means less time invoicing, more time doing what you love, or binging more episodes of Yearbook. We won't judge. Head to invoicehome.com and wave goodbye to invoicing stress.
Yeah, so I started obviously like making income after probably like a few months of doing it, but it was never anything that I even thought like, oh, I'm going to do this for money, because I didn't even think you could make money. When I found out you could get monetized from YouTube, I was already 6 months in and I hadn't got a penny, and I was just like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah.
So I definitely think like that was never my kind of intention. As 12 years old, you're not really thinking money at all. You're just excited to like be posted and popular, whatever. But yeah, the teachers definitely didn't understand. They were like so confused, and like even like my dance school people, like my dance teachers, they were a bit like rude about it as well, because I think they were just like, what do you mean, like you're going to skip dance to go work? Like that doesn't make sense. But yeah, my school teachers were not helpful in the slightest. Like I'm not going to sit here and lie. There was one teacher, probably two actually, that I'd say were like my support system. I could go to them about anything, and I used to go to them and tell them, and they'd be really, really supportive. But other than that, they used to just like ask me questions about really personal things about my social media. I mean, I was saying earlier to you
Like
about
what?
they'd ask like, oh, how much do you earn? Like, how much do you make for certain videos? But they'd ask me like in front of a class, and obviously like I turned around once and was like, I wouldn't ask you how much you earn. Don't ask me, that's rude.
Yeah.
And like I've always been brought up, you never ask people them kind of questions.
No.
And like as a teacher, you should know better. So I remember saying it to them, and then they turned around and was like, get out, you got an after school for the day. So I got put in after school because I didn't want to tell the teacher how much I earn, especially in a crowd of kids. Like it's just, I don't want to come across as someone that does this for the money at all, because I don't. And then when the teacher's asking you that, it's a bit like, what do you expect me to say right now? I'm not going to tell you how much I earn in front of everyone.
And also because they're like got the authority in the room, right? Because they're a teacher, like you kind of have to do what they say. And in that situation, you're like, I don't really want to do what you want to say.
No, so I was polite about it. I wasn't rude, but I was just like, I'm not telling you. I was like, I wouldn't ask you how much you earn. So that was kind of how it ended. But yeah, I definitely say overall, the experience wasn't the nicest from teachers, because I think they were just so confused. So yeah, it was kind of like mixed. I think my family was so supportive, they made it easy. But if I didn't have the support system from my family, I probably wouldn't have pursued.
So who was your like biggest inspiration growing up then? Was there someone out there that was doing something that you were like, I want to do something like them, or did this just come off like your own back sort of thing?
Probably my sisters, because they'd started doing it first. So my sister Robin, who's my eldest sister, she was doing blogging from like 2015, and she got like freebies from Nickelodeon once, and I was freaking out. And I was like, please give me that band. Like I think it was like a band that went around your head that had flowers on it from like a TV show that was coming out. And I was like, please let me have it. Like I'll do anything. And then she got like Jojo Siwa perfume. I was freaking out. That was like my biggest inspiration when I was like year 6. So I think probably like my sisters doing social media, and they brought me into their YouTube channel when I was like 9 and was like, come on, you can do videos with us. Like we did like challenges and stuff. But I'd say like an influencer that like I personally think's like made me want to do it even more is Molly May and Saffron Barker. I feel like seeing like Saffron kind of come from the more influencer side of the industry and then go on Strictly and do all these amazing things, it's just made me really look up to her as a person. Like, every time I meet her, I'm still like starstruck to this day. Like every time I sat next to her recently at not Pride of Britain, I sat next to her at a ITV like thing before we went to NTAs, and we was having afternoon tea, and like I had like massive people in the room as well, but I was just looking at her like, you are my biggest inspiration. Like so I was sitting next to her, and she was like talking to me about her life and her boyfriends and everything, and I was just like, God, like we were just having a conversation.
Did you watch her growing up then? Like,
watch her like every day religiously as a kid. And like I used to have dreams that like I'd meet her like in the streets and stuff. And I used to queue up at her meet and greets for like 4 hours and like make my mum stand in that queue with me and let me get a picture of her dad. Like I was obsessed with Saffron Barker. So I'd probably say like they're my two biggest inspirations.
Would you do something like Strictly?
Oh yeah.
Would you?
I would die to Strictly. That's like my dream role is to be a Strictly dancer. Like when I was younger, I wanted to be the professional in Strictly. Like I thought that was really cool. But obviously now I've kind of come the other side of the industry. I'm not dancing anymore. So I feel like being able to go back and dance every single day. Like I love training anyway. Anything like athletic and training, I just love. But I think Strictly is probably like my biggest dream. I love Strictly.
Yeah, Strictly is like it's such a good show. Like watching people, like I have just started learning how to ballroom dance with.
Really?
We started learning for our wedding, like me and my husband. So we go like on a Monday night with his mum and dad, and it is the cutest like hour of my week. It is genuinely the funnest thing ever.
Iconic.
So we do ballroom dancing once a week now. I love it. It's so fun.
Yeah, no, I definitely think Strictly's a top tier. I watch that every single Saturday and Sunday.
It is so
without
good.
a doubt. I love it.
Who's your favourite this
Tasha.
year? Tasha, yeah. Well, she's incredible, isn't she? Like,
oh my God, yeah. I think she's just an inspiration. Like I love her, and like her story last week, she did a really cool dance. I think it was to Pink.
Yeah,
could be wrong. I think it was that song, but yeah, she done a dance to that, and I was just like crying my eyes out. Like my boyfriend was sitting next to me, and I was just in bed like crying, and I was like, oh, she's just so good. Like she actually is just amazing. So she's my favorite.
So talented. I'm going to ask you some questions about school then. So what's something that you cared about as a teen that you really don't care about now that you've left school? Like what's something that really deeply mattered to you when you were younger?
I probably think like people's perception of me and
Yeah.
like also like how I looked. Like I wouldn't have my hair up at school because I thought I looked bad with my hair up. So like every day, even if it was like 25 degrees outside, I put my hair down. Like I would never have it up in a ponytail or anything more than now. You see me in London most of the time, my hair's in a blooming messy bun because I can't be bothered.
Yeah.
So I think it's just about like growing up and realizing them small little things like your hair being up instead of down does not matter. And it sounds so silly, but it's just something that I always remember stuck with me. Like people in like science would be like, you need to put your hair up, and I'd be like, oh, I don't want to put my hair up. People are going to think like, ugh. But it's just such little small things that I think I used to care about so much that now I don't. So
On the flip side of that, what's one thing you really care about now that you didn't care about when you were younger?
Probably my future. I think I'm more of a worrier now than I used to be because I'm like I've got such high expectations of myself and I always want to be busy. But then now because it's like my actual job, I'm like, oh my God, like I need to be doing here, there, and everywhere. But in reality, when I was younger, I was just like the weekends. What did I even do? I don't even remember.
Yeah.
Like I probably just sat there watching like Dance Mums every weekend. Like that's literally my life. But now I think I definitely put more pressure on my future than I did as a kid. Obviously, I think that's quite normal.
You mentioned as well that you got like bullied earlier on, like in school. Was like, what was why did that come about? Like, was it certain people that were just like really nasty? Was it to do with like being online? Like, what was the reason for
people
it?
always think like it was something to do with social media, but I wasn't actually doing social media at the beginning. It was more for my dancing because I used to just post videos of me dancing, and people used to just be really nasty. And I remember this school wouldn't really do much about it, and one day a girl added me to this group chat where everyone was ripping me to shreds and like saying the most nasty stuff about me, like horrible. And basically I printed it all out and went into the school with a document and was like, there you go, you're saying they're not saying any of it, but there's the proof and the pudding. And then they brought all the kids in and shouted at them one by one, and I had to sit there and watch it. It was just horrible. Like I just think sometimes the way that the school handled things wasn't the best, but also like I think it was just our year group as a whole wasn't a very nice year group. And I think a lot of the girls now that was in that school that was horrible to me would say the same thing. Like it was just a bit of a bitter school experience for everyone. But like now I've come out of it, I'm just like a completely different person. Like I view people differently. I realize like, do you know what, like they could have been struggling and just took it out on me. It's not an excuse at all. I don't believe that you should be bringing that as an excuse, but I definitely see things in a bit more of a different light now, more than back then. I was like, just why me, like all the time. So like now I see them out and about, some people that bullied me and like working in shops that I'm walking into, and I'm just like, hi, like I'm completely over that kind of like that whole thing that happened to me. But yeah, there was no reasoning behind it. Like it was just people being nasty, and unfortunately I was the victim, so it wasn't nice at all. And I think it was more the fact that I was very lonely in that time, and like I felt like I had no one to kind of go to other than like one friend. That when the whole school year kind of turns against you and has this, I think it was just a lot of rumours that people kind of, I mean, there was a massive rumour that like my mum and dad paid the school to not get me in trouble because obviously they were bullying me, so I wouldn't get in trouble, obviously. And then they'd be like, well, Amelie's just getting the school to pay, like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's just a joke. So I think there was just a lot of rumours, and a lot of, you know, like people had perceptions on me that wasn't true. So that's probably.
And part of your school experience was like interrupted by COVID as well, right?
Yeah, so year 8 we went into lockdown for a year and a half. I think. So I think that could have been a bit of a cause of, you know, everything that happened too. But I actually love lockdown because that I wasn't in. But other than that, it was a horrible time. Like I lost my granddad in lockdown, so we didn't get to see him for like 4 months, and then obviously he passed in hospital, and only my dad could go see him. So that was really tough, that part of lockdown. But then we also got my dog. And she's like my best friend. So I feel like lockdown was a weird one because I had a break from everything that was going on. But funny enough, like it started getting bad just before lockdown, and then we went into lockdown. So I thought like, oh, when I go back, it'll be over. And then when I went back, it just got worse. So I went back to school. I think it kind of lifted again. The Christmas, I can't remember when it was, but
we were like in and out and in and out.
In and out. I remember it was like Christmas, we went back into lockdown, but I remember there was a period of time where I didn't go to school for a few months because of the bullying, but it felt like just lockdown again because I was like, oh my God, I just had lockdown, come back, now I'm getting bullied. The police have told me not to go to school, so now I'm back at home again. So it was just like I had like a double year. It was great.
If you could like DM your teenage self now and give them like advice, like if they were going through it now that because you like, yo, I've got a different mindset now, like what would you want to say to like your teenage self?
Probably stop retaliating to them. That's what they want. Like I think a lot of the times where I get so upset is when I was arguing back with them and trying to defend myself, and it's like there's just no point wasting fuel on them. Like, literally ignore them. And I think if I could go back, like, everyone was telling me, like, don't let them get in your head, just block and remove. But at that time I was like, no, but I don't want them saying this about me because it's not true. Now I'm just like, I'm gonna just literally ignore them. Like, they don't even know you. It's fine.
Today's show is brought to you by BetterHelp Therapy Online, proud sponsors of Yearbook on Talk Twenties. On a scale of I got this to send help, where are we all at? Well, I have the honor today of telling you about BetterHelp. This partnership means a lot to me because BetterHelp has been my personal go-to for years. I first tried it coming out of the pandemic when I was, let's say, not exactly thriving, but therapy at the time was new to me. But having someone trained to actually listen without the classic, you just need to relax more advice genuinely made all the difference. With over 5,000 therapists in the UK already, BetterHelp can help provide access to mental health professionals with a wide variety of expertise in mental health. I love that if the first therapist you're matched with isn't a fit, you can swap, no awkward goodbyes necessary. Therapy can be tricky to start, but BetterHelp makes it so much smoother. Click the link in the description or just head to betterhelp.com/talk20s for 10% off your first month. And by doing so, you'll also be supporting this channel. Back to the show. How do you handle that now? Because I'm sure like you're still in the social media world. You probably now have randomers saying like stuff like this about you. Like, I guess you can handle that like in the same kind of way. Do you like block, delete and all that kind of stuff?
You should definitely block. Like, I've come like to this kind of mindset now where like before I used to think like, oh, they're going to think they've won because I've blocked them. But that's not the case at all. You're just burning out the fire. Like, you don't need that in your life. You don't need to be reading comments about you like that. I definitely think it's just more difficult because they do not know a single thing about me and they are just commenting and nitpicking on every single little thing. So it can be difficult, but I think I definitely find it harder when it was people that I knew than people that I don't know. So I feel like I'm a lot better at just ignoring it when it's not people that I know.
Okay, I've got a tricky question for you right now. If your life could be a school subject, what would it be and why?
Sport studies, because it's a mix of media and then actual sport, and I love both of them things.
Oh, really?
So I did sport studies GCSE.
Yeah.
I think it's like a BTEC instead of GCSE
Yeah.
PE. But I did sport studies and you learn about media coverage of the sport, and then you also did like practical. You did a group and then a single sport, and that was like my favourite subject ever. I got like a 9 in that. So I actually aced that. That was my favourite subject.
Because you were quite open about your GCSEs online, weren't you? Like, you fully like put them out there. Like,
do you know what people hate? And they say like, how she come out of a business when she got a 2 in business? But I actually didn't go to my lessons for like a year. So I didn't go to geography for a year and I didn't go to business for a year, where I got put into extra support because I have severe dyslexia, like really bad. So the school said they rather me focus on like English and maths and pass them than do like the other GCSEs. So when people hate, I'm just like, well, I didn't actually go to them lessons for a year. So I didn't actually know anything about the lessons. I just got put into the test. So yeah, I would say like my GCSEs, I passed the things that I practiced, and the things that I didn't do and didn't go to, I didn't pass.
What you got on your GCSEs doesn't mean you're like, a lot of people think, oh, it's going to be related to adult life, but honestly, you're still doing well in adult life. In business, what you're doing right now, it technically is business.
Yeah.
But like, there are other people who could have got a 9 in business and it wouldn't help them in actual real life. How much do you think that is like linked, like how well you do in school and how well you do in adult life?
I just think grades shouldn't define you, and like I hate this whole stigma around like, oh well, if you're not academic then you're not really going to get far, because it genuinely isn't anything to do with just academic anymore. Like, I think if you can hold yourself well and be confident and be able to like have communications with people, then you could actually exceed more than someone that's just got the brains. So I definitely say like, for people that are listening to this and they're like, oh, really stressed out, like please don't worry. I know it's something that everyone says like, oh, GCSE, or like your level A levels, but like it's something that like, even if you don't do your best, as long as you've tried, that's all you can do. Do you know what I mean? So I think a lot of people take it as like you have to do well to be a good person in life, but honestly, some of my friends that have done the worst in GCSEs are now at jobs and getting good pay, and some of my friends are still in A levels. So it's just different people, I guess, but you can smash it.
What would you like to do with your life then? Like, obviously you're literally at the cusp. You're literally stepping out into like adult life right now, and there's some stuff you're not even allowed to do because you're not even 18 yet. Like, or lots of like jobs that are coming your way, you're like, can't do it because I'm 18, like, which is crazy. But like, what would you like to do when you turn 18 and as you grow?
I really want to travel. Like, I know this isn't really related to work, but it's just something that like I've always wanted to go see different cultures and like go to Australia and live an Australian lifestyle. Like, I've got so many influencer friends that are DMing me being like, when you come out you can just stay at mine, and I'm like, that's my dream. Like, I literally died to go to Australia. I love it there so much. So I definitely say Australia is like a top thing for me next year that I really want to do, but also just dipping into a lot of different things. I've got my business coming out in March, April.
What are you allowed to say about your business?
So all I can say for right now, we've signed the papers, it's confirmed. Like, it's definitely going through. So I'm not just saying this and it's going to like flop. We've come with the name now. So we've got the name confirmed. And it's just something that means a lot to me and something that I always have on all the time. Okay. So I feel like you just need it in your life. And like, I just personally think there's no brand out there that's making it in the right way and the way that I'd like it. And I know a lot of my followers also could agree with that. So I think there's a lot of things tied in with this business. And like, when the whole thing comes out and the strategy and the concept, you're all going to just be like, oh, that makes sense. So I'm really, really excited.
When is it coming?
April time. So Easter time, you can expect it. So it's been a long time in the work. Like, it's already took like a year and we've still got another few months, but it's all about the products now and the packaging, and it's going to be amazing. And I've got such a great team around me. Like, I literally wouldn't be able to do it without everyone.
Oh, it's really exciting.
You can get a freebie, don't worry.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I would gift you any day. It's fine.
You're a cutie. Right, Ami, we'd love you to sign our yearbook. You're going to be the next person to sign. Now, we've already had Joe Bags, we've had Bradley sign. Okay, so first of all, we're going to take a picture of you. Okay. And then we're going to get you to sign in our yearbook. Okay, so Ami, tell me what your quote is that you've got in your yearbook.
I put progress over perfection.
Why progress over perfection?
Because it's about the journey, not how quickly you get there.
It's very true.
In my opinion. Anyway.
Yeah, and that's the motto that you live by?
Yeah, definitely. Something that I live by, and it's always on my Pinterest board, so put it in there too.
Cute. And back in school then, what would people have said that you were most likely to?
Well, I only did my awards like a year and a half ago, so I can tell you what I got for the awards.
What did you get in your awards?
I won Most Likely to Be a Millionaire.
Oh,
and then I also won Most Likely to Go on Love Island.
Oh, okay. How'd you feel about that one?
Yeah, that's not really my vibe. I don't think I could do Love Island, but obviously they think I'm worthy, which is thanks, guys. You all bullied me, but you wanted me to go on Love Island. But I think that's probably because of my social media more than anything. But I got Millionaire, so I'm going to put that one down.
Put that one down. That's so cute. Love that.
Yay, when I got my yearbook.
Ami, thank you so much. That is, honestly, I do think for a lot of young people right now who are looking up to people on social media, I'm so glad that they've got you to look up to, because you are so honest about what it's like to actually be living through your teens right now. And I just think that you're a good example for like everyone that's out there. And I know you are a lot younger than me, but I do think that like you're going to go on to do incredible, amazing things. And I'm so excited. I'm excited to hear about your brand when that comes to fruition. And I just know that this we'll just be seeing more and more of Ami Charlize. Like, you're doing amazing stuff, so congratulations.
Thank you. That was so nice. I feel like no one ever says this kind of stuff out loud, so that's really lovely of you.
Are you sure? Like, people don't tell that to you.
Oh, they just write it down, you know what I mean? Little paragraph from my mum here and there. No, I'm joking. She always does say it to me, to be honest, but that was really nice. Thank you.
Well, it's been amazing to have you on the show. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for coming to sign our yearbook.
Oh no, I loved it. It was really, really good fun. So thank you for having me too. Woo! Yay!
Ami was so fab. You are so good at talking about so many different things. Thanks. Like, I just feel like you are able to like put stuff in like such good context and like what it's actually like to be.
I remember when I first go on tangents, like even on mine, and then I'm like, oh wait, I've actually got an interview. I'm like, oh, back to you now. So I feel like that was really good. That was really fun.
You did amazing. We'll take a few pictures now.
We was gonna do one of these for my podcast, but we never ended up getting to it. I think yearbook makes so much more sense for this anyway.